rock and roll.
Guys, welcome back. Big up to everyone. Thank you for joining us again on this Friday evening. Hope you're all doing well, guys. Lots to talk about today. We're going to go through the Hendo Fabinho situation. They're leaving. We'll go through new transfers. Apparently, there's FSG investment as well. And we're going to obviously talk about Liverpool's best front three. But first of all, let me bring in K-Mac. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are you today, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. Not too bad. Took the kids off way earlier. Had a nice restful day. Just watching a new Terminator film that I've not seen yet. And then it decided to crash halfway through and I couldn't be bothered starting all over again. So that's how my day's gone. It's been good, man. It's been good. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Big up to everyone in chat. I hope you're doing really well. Thank you very much for being here. As always, don't forget to go and hit that like button, subscribe button, share button, everything, guys. Big up to everyone on the road to 5. Hey. Yes, damn, there somewhere, wherever it is. But go and smash it. Go and smash it, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Big up, Michael. Big up, Live and Adventure. Being honesty, Jason. Bajan in the house. Hope you're doing well. Bajan, I'll put the link in the WhatsApp group if you want to come on, man. You're more than welcome. Casey, big up, Psychedelic. All of you guys. RJ in the house. Big up to everyone in the house. Hope you're all doing well. K-Mac, I haven't seen you for a couple of days. Spoken a couple of days. What did you think of the Liverpool's first pre-season game?
The first pre-season game was an interesting one because I wasn't really sure what was going on in the second half with with Shimikas as DM. I tell you what, though, mate, like Dominic Szoboszlai and McAllister looked like they'd been playing for us for the last 5 years. They look really smooth, and it's good to see Jota is still got it. Like, it's going to make things interesting. For me, though, I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit wary about the right back position. Trent looked incredible in midfield. Like, he looked like he's ready to go for that position. Pretty much it, really. I mean, Kelleher pulling off some worldy saves again. Like,
yeah, he's a good keeper.
Makes it interesting.
Yeah, he's a good keeper, man. It's definitely going to be an interesting season for Liverpool coming up. You know, we know what we're in the middle of right now. We're in the middle of a midfield exodus. You know, everyone's just leaving with a snap of a finger. You know, and everyone seems to be popping off somewhere here and there. And yeah, it's definitely interesting this summer for a Liverpool fan point of view, because usually we're like sitting here bored now, ain't we? Everyone else.
We've signed everyone by now.
Yeah, everyone's doing business. We're never selling anyone. It's exciting. Look, whatever is going on, it is quite an exciting time to be a Liverpool fan right now, because I'm interested to see how it goes. But with the new lads that have come in so far, let's talk about McAllister first, because I thought he was the one who shone the brightest in that game. And that second half performance from McAllister, as you said, he looked like he's been at Liverpool for 2 seasons already. You know, he's so comfortable on the ball. And look, we're going to talk about Jordan Henderson later, but we've been so used and programmed having Jordan Henderson in our midfielder for the last few years and it's not getting away. I say, I'm not going to slag Jordan Henderson off. It's not what it's about. But McAllister is just a far better footballer. You know, he's just a far better footballer. And I said it all last season, you know, Henderson, for what he did, was tremendous. Still getting into, because Henderson always got into them positions McAllister did the other day in that pre-season. But my problem was, I kept always saying, is that Henderson doesn't have the quality where McAllister does. And his little touches, his little give and goes. And I'll tell you what is really impressive, K-Mac, about McAllister's performance, the way he wins the ball back so quickly. And we all know Klopp, counter-pressing is what's here to stay as Jurgen Klopp's manager. It's his way of playing. And you can't find a better midfielder in the market with the quality he's got, Argentinian international, 35 million. That does everything Jurgen Klopp wants to do in that system right now, is there?
He oozes class. Like, and the thing about it as well, he works his socks off. Like, he is just. You're not going to get a better player for 35 million on the continent. I'm sorry, like you're just not. He's the real deal. Like, like, I mean, that goal that Jota scored, like, that's a goal that wins a game, like in a tight match, like in the Premier League next season. And McAllister put it right where all he needed to do was just hit the ball once.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even need to take a touch. Like, that's what McAllister can do for the strikers.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I've talked about for a long time. He makes the decision for the striker already. So the striker doesn't even have to make the decision. Well, do I hit it with my left? Do I hit it with my right? Do I bend it in the corner? Do I tuck it in the near post? It's there. All he's got to do is make that one kick, and he knows exactly where he's going to put it. And the striker knows, well, he's put it on my left side. I've got to hit it with my left foot. Like, oh, I'm left-footed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, I mean, Jota's comments after the game. You know, I think Jota's comments after the game tell you a lot of what he thinks as well, because,
I know.
like he said, he likes playing with midfielders like McAllister because they're techie, they keep the ball, they got great awareness around them, good vision. If Jota needs it quickly, he knows he's going to get it quickly. Look, you only got to go back to the World Cup and the praise Messi gave McAllister during the World Cup. As he said, he always looked for McAllister because he knew McAllister would be there to give the ball back to him straight away, no messing around. And I think Jota's comments puts it in light of where he feels. Look, as I say, I love Hendo. He's a great servant to the football club. He's going there, but you know, like someone says, no more hoofball from that side of the pitch. Look, I think sometimes we look at a game, and because strikers are the strikers, you look at them to do the business. And, you know, when they're not getting the ammunition they deserve, they can't do what they need to do, you know. And, you know, Hendo coming off that right hand side, them, you know, we know what Hendo tried to do, God bless him, them whipped him balls first time, or he can't play really give and goes. That's not his game. And you saw, I think Jota and Gakpo look better in like 30 minutes playing with someone like McAllister just for that 30 minutes because you saw more to their game, I thought, K-Mac. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I agree. The interesting thing about it is, like, I kind of threw Nunez under the bus a bit last season because he missed a lot of chances.
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen next season.
Yeah.
Not when he's getting the ball from McAllister.
Well,
Because
we're going to talk about Darwin.
Yeah, because they're not going to be feeding off scraps anymore. And the thing about it as well, we've relied on our strikers for everything. Like, we've relied on them for everything. They've had to do the creation, and they've had to make everything themselves.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that no more. There's going to be a lot coming from midfield, which I think is exciting.
Oh, totally. I mean, and I think we can see there's a pattern we're going to play. Like, he went straight back to the fullback role, the inverted fullback role, the box midfield. And if you look at the players we're buying, I actually think this suits our midfield to play this way. It might not suit our defence, which we'll get to in a bit, but for the midfield and the purpose going forward, I do think this is the best way for us playing that box midfield. Because if Trent's going to play inverted and come into them positions where you want him to come into and control games, you get more of an offensive midfielder, net defensive midfielder sitting next to him, and you've got McAllister and Szoboszlai in front of that doing the attacking role, and then you've got that front three there. Yeah, that's dirty. You're mute.
It's sauce. And the thing about it as well is we didn't see them play together.
No.
They played second half, first half. So having those three, like just having Trent, Szoboszlai, and McAllister, even in that three-man midfield, I mean, that's sauce. It really
is. It's dirty, man, and yeah, I love it. I mean, it'd be interesting to see when Klopp puts them together because I think that's what everyone's going to wait and see.
Are you going to talk about Gakpo? Because I thought Gakpo
Yeah, we're going
was
to
brilliant.
we're going to get to the front three in a
He was
little bit.
brilliant.
We're going to talk about the front three in a little bit. But with Szoboszlai, I thought McAllister stood out a little bit more than Szoboszlai in the game. Szoboszlai was great though. Don't get me wrong. He's them long diagonals he does are very effortless. He just pings them onto Salah. I like all that. I like how he was busy. I like how he doesn't stay in one position. He's starting on the left hand side of the midfield three in that box formation and going over to the right. He's not stationary. He's hard to pick up. I noticed that he always had room. He always had space on the pitch wherever he wanted to be. Maybe played a little bit too deep for my liking in that first half, but I got a feeling that was because of the players in front of him who was playing up front in that game. And
also the fact that we had a rookie right back.
Yeah, and
he was a bit meh.
And that's why I'm saying inverted roles obviously not going to go because Klopp played Bradley there in that inverted right.
It wasn't just him though as well. It was the other midfielder that he was with. He was a bit meh as well. I'm trying to think of his name. Yeah, Clark. I thought Bobby Clark.
It's all right. I mean, I'm not going to expect a million things from Bobby Clark. I mean, as I said,
he won that header. He won that header to push it on.
His press was good. I'll give him that. His press was good. But look, Bobby Clark, let's face it, is he really going for the future at Liverpool Football Club? We got to be serious sometimes. I think sometimes
we really do. I totally agree with you. We really do have to be serious about these things now.
We're buying midfielders for a reason. If they thought Bobby Clark and they'll fit players like that were for the future, and they're going to be here long term, we wouldn't be making long term transfers, would we? We're buying players.
Not for players that are only a couple of years older than them.
Yeah, we're buying players of 22, 23, who are only 2 years older. So that tells you straight away, them players are here for the long term. They're 5, 6, 7 year transfers that goes to the football club. So when I look at people like Clark and that, I just feel like, yeah, you're good professionals. But if we're buying people that are only 2 years older than you and they're here for the long term, what does that really say for your future? And go and be a professional somewhere. And you'll light it up. Look, there's a few youth players in our youth system that I think are quite special. Ben Doak. And we got to keep hold of and nurture. And then there's a lot that you can just see. We're buying players for a reason, for longevity, young players, not already made. Word coming out of the club is that's what Liverpool are looking for now. They're looking for young players that can stay at the club for 5, 6, 7 years that can build. Like they did when they first got Fabinho in, Genie in, that same thing. You have them 5, 7 years, you go again, you build, and then you get rid and bring new lot in. So, yeah, it's hard on these youngsters. It really is. It really is hard on these youngsters. But it's just, unfortunately, football is a serious game. Winning is everything. Winning is everything. And it's totally different to 20 years ago, when I think a lot more youth players could get more of a chance. Even look at some of the smaller clubs in the Premier League. They're going out buying foreign players for cheaper, same age range, because winning is so important that youth players are not really getting the chance that they once used to, and unless they're special, unless they're really, really special, and they're a player that you got to keep hold of.
There's not many that get the chance now. And the thing about that as well is because the Premier League's there's so much money in it. You've got like relegation teams that are going to be fighting relegation, signing players from like AC Milan and teams like that, and you're like, that's insane. Like that never used to happen. No. But they are they're spending like 40 million on players like these relegation.
Everyone's got money.
Teams.
That's why it's really, really difficult to go into a so-called smaller team in the Premier League now and just nicking their best player because they don't need to sell. Brighton do not need to sell Caicedo. They don't, because they don't need the money. So they just wait. They go, he's an £100 million player. You pay 100 million, he's yours. We don't need to sell him for 50 million because we're not desperate for money. And that's just the way.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if because we signed Dominic Szoboszlai and McAllister like early on in the window. Brighton don't sell Caicedo, and Leipzig don't sell Guardiola.
Well, by the look of it now, that Guardiola deal has gone tits up, ain't it? Like
that could actually be down to Fabrizio Romano releasing that info before anyone else did.
Yeah. And I think the City is it the Leipzig boss or whatever the sporting director there has come out and said, "No, thanks for us selling Szoboszlai and Liverpool paying up. We don't need to sell now. We got money." So unless you pay the €100 million that they want for Guardiola, he ain't going nowhere. And what I've been seeing of him training, he looks perfectly happy. He ain't in no rush. The man's 20 years old. He ain't in a rush to leave. He knows he's going to get his big move eventually. It ain't a bother for him. But that just shows that, City, I think City's got a bottomless pit. If they don't think the player is of value, they won't go for that player. They turn to someone else.
They won't pay over the odds, will they?
No,
I mean, they did for Jack Grealish, but I think the Jack Grealish thing was a bit different. Like, it was literally, he was the guy they really, really wanted. I think was he like their only signing that year as well? Like, I think he was like their main.
Yeah, they
don't
make a bunch of signings, do they?
No.
The City got to be careful. They got to sell a few players first before they can get something because of a FFP. Same with Newcastle. Right. Look, McAllister and Szoboszlai, beautiful, great. Before we talk about the front three, actually, let's talk about the front three now, and we'll go into others. So we saw a majority of all the strikers, all the attacking talent we have in the friendly the other day, sorry. And I'm not going to just go on that friendly. I'm going to go on what I saw all last season as well. So I'm not being reactionary with my comments. I'm going to go what I saw against Culture. I'm going to go what I saw last season, and especially towards the end of the season last year when everyone came back fit. So I've got that in my mind. So I'm not acting reactionary. So let the chat know that. I like Darwin. I really rate Darwin Nunez. I really do. And I've said this time and time again. I'm not going at him. I want Darwin to be Liverpool's number 9. But K-Max, the more I watch Cody Gakpo play, the harder it's getting for me to think, how does Darwin fit in? And the reason is, this is my whole reason on it. Jurgen Klopp's got a way he likes to play football, especially with Liverpool Football Club. Forget his Dortmund days and his Mainz days. He's now got this tactical system in place at Liverpool Football Club that he likes, he loves, most of the players enjoy, and he ain't going to go from it. That is just the way it is. It's counter-pressing, high line. We saw it. It was still evident the other day. And that's not going to change. It's just not going to change. And we just have to get to that fact that it's not going to change. And Darwin Nunez, Darwin Nunez would be tremendous at another club that plays to Darwin Nunez's strengths. As a team, we don't play to Darwin Nunez's strengths because Klopp has mentioned this so many times. If you go do counter pressing, you need strikers who can defend from the front, right, and score goals. So that kind of player, that kind of striker, is an exceptional talent. You look at the three we've had: Mane, Bobby, and Salah. Exceptional talents that counter press, defend from the front, and score 20 goals a season. It's just unheard of. There ain't many players like this. And that's how Klopp wants to play, and that's why it's very hard to buy that kind of player on the transfer market. He got Darwin in thinking he can mould Darwin into that. Also, I think, I've said this for a while now with Darwin, I don't think Liverpool saw Darwin as this 20, 30 goal a season striker. I think they saw Darwin that's got great athleticism, extremely quick, talented, can be moulded, can play left wing and striker, versatile. And if he gives me 15, 16 goals a season, we're happy. That's how I think Liverpool saw it. And then Mane left. Bobby was coming to the end. Jota got injured. So Darwin was thrown in, I think, too early last season. I think there would have been more of an adaptation. If Diaz never got injured, if Jota never got injured and Bobby was fit and firing all season, I don't think Darwin would have played as many games as he did last season. I think it would have been like working him out. And then Cody Gakpo comes in January, and it's a bit of a slow start for Cody, and he plays in false nine straight away. Like no messing. Plays Cody Gakpo false nine straight away. I think I had ends on the channel and other people on the channel we were talking about. It's like, why is he playing? He's a left winger. Always been a left winger. Now he plays false nine for the Dutch team. And we always thought, why is he doing that when he's got Darwin there? And Darwin's still playing left wing. This don't make sense. And the more I watch him and the more I watch our team play and the way we build up, with Cody Gakpo, for me right now, he's undroppable. I think this Liverpool team at their strongest and the way they want to play, for me, watching it is with Cody Gakpo as the number 9. I don't know about you, K-Matt, but that's how I think Liverpool, the way we set up and play, it just suits Cody's game far more than it does Darwin's right now, in my opinion.
Can I just ask the chat a question off the back of what you just said? So, if Pep Guardiola had signed Darwin Nunez last season, would Darwin Nunez have scored 30 goals under Pep Guardiola? Yes or no in the chat?
That's a difficult one to answer that.
Because when Manchester City sign a player, just like they did with Haaland, they change the way they play to fit the main man.
Yeah, they do.
We just didn't do it. And you need to for Nunez.
I think we're Nunez, either. That's the thing.
I think Nunez works with a world-class midfielder that's going to feed him. And I think McAllister can do that. I also think Dominic Szoboszlai's probably got the capability to do it as well. However, I don't know whether him and Salah are going to cook as much as everyone thinks they will. I don't know. I'm really I watched that game, and he looks dangerous. He looks dangerous, but he also looks like he's always looking for another person as well. He needs to stop looking for another person and do it on his own. I think he's the striker. He needs to be told, look, you're the striker. Score goals.
He doesn't look like he's got a killer instinct.
No, it's weird.
That's the thing. If you've not got a killer instinct, he's definitely not a number 9 that is a killer up front. He's not that number 9 who will go up, who will smash goals in. He'll be selfish. He doesn't come across that kind of player. And I know, I'm still laughing about that. I know he scored in the friendly and he took his goal well on his weak foot. He really did.
But that was a brilliant pass by Salah.
Yeah. The fact though that he passed to Salah first. I was doing the live watch. I was like,
it wasn't even a ball on.
No,
it wasn't a ball on.
Because all you've done is turn. Now Salah's got his back to goal. It's not Salah can't get a shot at. So why are you passing? And you're like 6 yards out, just smash it in the back of the net. And I'm sitting there thinking, you don't have to pass to Mo, because I can tell you something right now. If that was Mo Salah, he's not passing. If
that's Jota, he's not passing.
No.
If that's Gakpo, he's not passing. No. Think about it as well, and I 100% believe this. If he'd have took that shot on and missed, he would have had a terrible pre-season. He would have carried that on all the way through the game, and they'd taken that into the next game and the next game. Honestly,
totally.
I know it's something really trivial, but if he'd have taken that on and missed, like a real sitter like that, that would have just brought back memories of last year because he missed loads of those last year. And the thing about it is, if you're getting the ball and you're clean through on the goalkeeper and you're in the box, if you ain't shooting them, why are you a forward? That's your job. That's your bread and butter. Put that away. That is your bread and butter. It's interesting.
I mean, he scored a good goal. His goal he took was work good. I just don't know why he didn't pass in the first place. I like Darwin Nunez. I'm not dissing him. I think he's got
him as well.
Talent.
I like him as
well. I've always said if he was up for sale tomorrow, you'd be surprised how many big teams will be in for him. I think it would shock a lot of people because he's got he's got a nice reputation in Europe, and a lot of managers like him and rate him. So My issue with all this is the system we play, and the way we play is not to the strength of Darwin. Darwin's a decent footballer, so he will get goals because he will score 15 goals in this system. I ain't got a doubt about that. But the system don't suit him, and Klopp isn't going to change the system. Klopp's already come out and said that Darwin's got to defend better from the front. He's already made that personal. He's already spoke about it. He dropped him for games because of it. He bought Gakpo and played him number 9 in a false role. The evidence is there. It's all in front of us. And the other thing, look, I'm going to get to it. So that's just
the thing that confuses me as well is he's given the number 9 shirt.
Yeah,
that's the confusing thing. If you're going to do that and then not play him, and the thing about it as well is what must Cody Gakpo be thinking? If he gets the number 9 shirt, Gakpo must have thought, well, I was better.
Yeah,
I did a better job. I don't know.
It is confusing because right now, so I'll get this up on the screen for everyone to see. So this is what the video is about. It's what is Liverpool's best front three? What is Liverpool's best front three against Chelsea on the first game of the season? What is everyone's favourite front three? Now, I've always wanted Darwin to be my number 9. I spoke about it the other day as well. I think Darwin should be if he's given the number 9 shirt, Klopp has to play him as the number 9 in his first team. He just has to. He's giving them the number. I know numbers don't really matter so much, but if you're giving a striker the number 9 shirt, that striker thinks he's playing. It's as simple as that. So I look at that, but then I go back and remember the games I watched towards the end of last season, the pre-season games. So I've got all this fresh in my mind. My front three right now, and everyone in the chat, let me know your front three. I want everyone's front three in the chat right now. My front three for the game against Chelsea is Jota, Gakpo, and Salah. It's C, that one at the bottom. Jota, Gakpo, and Salah. That is my front three right now. And the reason is that's my front three is this. We all forget, and I forgot because I said let's just sell him if we get a good offer because of the injuries are doing my head in. But I think we all forgot how good Jota is. Jota is ridiculously good. He's probably our best finisher out of everyone. He's a very good finisher as well. Scores very good goals. He's a very good dribbler of the ball as well. People sometimes give him stick, but I think he's a very good dribbler of the ball. Let's bring Baz in as well. Yeah, big up Baz. How you doing, man?
How you doing, man? Big up. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. No worries. Yeah, I really. And then Jota and Gakpo's. Me and Baz spoke about this the other night. Jota and Gakpo's chemistry is just mad. It's just
it is sauce, isn't it?
And I remember watching them even in the end of last season. Their chemistry together was good. So this is not a reactionary thing. I remember their chemistry last season. And when I look at that front three as a chemistry, yeah, Salah's Salah. Salah's playing no matter what, and he has chemistry with everyone in a way because he's Salah. But on that middle left-hand side, what I like about Gakpo and Jota is the way they can just change positions effortlessly. So Jota can start on the left, go central. Gakpo can start central and go to the left. And they can change all the time continuously like that. They're extremely good at it. And you don't actually notice it sometimes because they're so good at it. And their chemistry is excellent. I've got a problem with Diaz. I'm just going to admit it right now. For me, Diaz needs a good run in this Liverpool team. It is hard to question Diaz right now, and I get it when people talk about Diaz because, he came in January, he had a few months, then in the beginning of the new season, he went to October and got injured, and he was out for 5 months. So he's never really had a full set in the Liverpool team yet where he can, catch fire and actually look amazing. But right now, for me, with Diaz, I just feel sometimes he holds the ball too long and sometimes slows it down a little bit. You know, I saw in that friendly, and he's trying to beat 4 men. I'm like, why? Just beat one man and cross it in. Just beat one man and cross it in. I think what we've got to get with Diaz is as well, because Diaz has got so much quality. That's why it winds me up, because he's so gifted, right? And what I want Diaz to be is just a winger. Don't worry about being Mane 2.0. I don't want that from Diaz. Just be a winger. Mane was more direct. He just went straight for goal, right? Like Salah, direct, straight for goal. The more inside forwards. But Diaz is more of your natural winger, ain't he? Diaz is more of your natural winger. And what I want Diaz to do, he's got the ability to do this so easy to do it with his eyes closed. Beat your fullback, cut inside, cross it in, or cross it from wide. You know, I don't care if you don't score 20 goals a season. If you're only getting 8 goals a season, but 15 assists, and you're being really creative from that left-hand side, I'm perfectly happy, because I think that's what you are. Try not to be something you're not. I don't want Diaz to be a Mane, because he's not that player. And I don't want him to try. I don't want our manager to try and coach him into that either by getting upset with him because he is at Mane. Don't do it. Just let Diaz cook being the way he is.
Being Diaz.
Yeah, just be Diaz. And at the moment, when I look at Diaz, I just feel like Diaz is stuck. He doesn't know who he needs to be. That wide player who's just getting past his fullback, whipping the ball in, cutting inside sometimes, getting the odd goal here and there, spectacular goal. That's the Diaz I want to see. You know, I'm not asking for Mane numbers from Diaz. I'm just not, because I know what sort of player he is. And he could be very creative for us and a weapon. But I just feel like Diaz don't know what he is just yet. And I don't know if Klopp knows what he is just yet, Baz.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, to be fair, look, he's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant player, and you know what? He came in our time of need because we weren't that great when he had come. He gave us that lift, you know what I mean, just to push on. But like you said, I don't want Klopp coaching certain things out of him because he's a brilliant talent. But he does need to look up a little bit and be more of a team player than this dribble merchant that some people say, which to a point is, you know, you can agree. And, you know, a few times noticeably, he has literally, you know what I mean, a few times that stopped the play in like important moments. That's the only thing. But hopefully, you know what I mean, he's got that in him, man. He's got that in him. I think he'll be okay, but there is a little concern there, isn't it? But when you look at Cody Gakpo's there, you've got Nunez, you've got Jota, you know what I mean? He needs to step up. And if he doesn't step up, someone will easily come in and, you know, replace him or take his place for a little while till he bucks up his ideas.
Yeah, great. Danny, what's the bad take, man? Let me know, because I'm not dissing Diaz at all. I literally just said Diaz is a winger who's a natural winger who's going to be a more creative winger than a Mane type winger. That's all I said. And if Diaz is allowed to be that Diaz, then he cooks. If he's not allowed to be that Diaz, he's going to struggle. That's all I'm saying, man. I want Diaz to be phenomenal because I know he's got talent. At this moment in time, the way we play under Jurgen Klopp with counter pressing right now and team chemistry, Jota and Gakpo, for me, have that chemistry better than Darwin and Diaz right now.
Can I just touch on something you just said, because this is going to make everyone laugh, to be honest. So you've just done that poll, which players you would choose to be in your front three, and everyone said C.
Yeah.
As a
Who's got the squad numbers? Not those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
okay. So Nunez has got the number 9 shirt, and Diaz has got the number 7 shirt,
and they're quality footballers. And I want them
there's your front three. Is A.
Yeah, I think people don't understand what I'm saying. Like, I don't think people understand what I'm saying. It's not a poor take, right? What I'm saying is that Klopp. What you're saying is Klopp's adding things to his game. I don't want Klopp to add things to his game. This is what I'm trying to say. I don't want Klopp to add things to his game. He's perfectly good the way the player he was at Porto coming to our side. If you can't do counter pressing and it's not in your game, don't buy them. Because if they can't put it into their game, you're going to take away bits of their game that they're better at. than everyone else. Look, Diaz is our best winger. If you just let Diaz be Diaz, don't worry about all the counter pressing stuff and all that. Let him be a winger. Let him be creative. If he hasn't got that part of him naturally in his game, and you start to coach that part of his game into him, but you take away some good points of his game that we bought him for, you're not going to get the play you really want at the end of the day. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not dissing the players. I'm not dissing the team. I love all these players. They're exceptional footballers. Yeah. But at this moment in time, no one can tell me Gakpo, Jota, and Mo Salah do not suit the system better than the other players.
Jamie, you're sorry to cut you, but you're right. I back you on this one. To be fair, he's a brilliant player, but then there's also another option as well. Remember, we talk about bringing different options and different players into a team. Where we can have, I don't know, let's just say we put Nunez there for argument's sake, on the left, and Diaz doesn't start or whatever. He's still able to come in and do his thing, so long as we don't coach stuff out of him yet. Obviously, like maybe little improvements here and there, you know what I mean? Like maybe look up a little bit more or something, or just don't dwell on the ball too much for too long. Shouldn't be a problem. It gives us another option.
Exactly. I'm all right with these issues as well, by the way. Like if we got Diaz and Darwin Nunez on the bench in a game, that's fantastic, by the way. There's not many teams that have that bench quality, right? But then you want them two to come on and play their natural game. That's why you bought them, to play their natural game, which means you need a couple of systems. You don't want Darwin and Diaz to go on the pitch and try and play counter pressing with their back to goal, defending from the front. Let them go on there and be killers. Let them go on there and play their way, their natural way. Change the system up for certain players in your team. Because if Haaland gets like a 6-month injury, Man City are not going to play the same way with Alvarez up front as they do Haaland up front. They're just not, because you won't get the best out of Alvarez playing that way. So they have to change it up. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying these players are terrible. I'm not saying Klopp's terrible. I've said this some time and time again. Buy players that suit your system. If you can't make them into something, some players you can, like Aguero made himself play the Pep Guardiola way, but then Aguero's generational. We're talking about a different beast here. If Darwin can't fit his way into the way that Jurgen wants him to play, then Jurgen should let Darwin and Diaz play their natural way. Play their natural way. You can't tell me that the midfielders won't be allowed to let them play. You've got Darwin and Diaz on the pitch. Klopp should tell his midfielders, be more direct. I want Darwin on the ball as quick as we can. We want to find him in the box. Not too many passes. Go more direct to him. Get him in behind. Get Diaz nice and wide. Diaz, you play really wide. Stretch the game for us. When you get the ball, beat your fullback. Get the crosses in the ball. Get the crosses in the box. If they don't always get their man, don't worry about it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, because you've got the quality. You'll find them eventually. Keep running. Diaz is natural at defending because he's South American. Most South American players are just natural and aggressive and will chase balls back and win balls back. So you ain't got to worry about that. Just let them play their natural game.
You know what you sound like there? You sound like a manager that's got flexibility. Unfortunately, we haven't got one. What's really interesting is Quasi's just made a really good point in the chat. That requires a whole change of system. The machine doesn't run that way. And the thing about it is, those three players you've just said, Salah, Jota, and Gakpo, they are all system-based players that can play in any type of system, and they work as a system in the team. When you sign a Nunez and you sign a Diaz, you bought yourself street ballers. They're street ballers. They make chances themselves. They create stuff themselves. They don't work in systems. So having to make them work into a system is going to be a push. Like, it really is. And there's going to be games where they just look completely out of place because of the way we want to play. And are you going to spend that much money to have players that come off the bench?
Look, to be fair, as well,
50 million.
Diaz, let's put Diaz alone here. Diaz is good enough to change a game for us. There's no doubt about it. Diaz has done that before. He's got the game by the scruff of the neck. The games that Diaz has got the game by the scruff of the neck is when Diaz has just been told to do your thing. Don't know if everyone's noticed that. When we play to the system, Diaz struggles, and then all of a sudden we go, right, Diaz sort of opens up and just does his own thing and gets us back into games and all that. So Diaz,
that's true.
A bit more freedom. You know, get that, you know, just take the seatbelt off him a little bit. This is a good point, though. James just thought you to say that Gakpo couldn't play in the attacking role of the mid in the new system. I think that's something we might see a lot next season. I wouldn't be surprised sometimes if you saw all four. You know, at times where you play Gakpo in behind a Darwin and you've got a Jota and a Salah playing or a Diaz and a Salah playing. That's something I think we might see in certain games, depending on who we're playing and teams like that. That won't surprise me.
Don't be surprised. I know some people might not like this, all right, but look, it's not something that I agree with anyway. Yeah, but don't be surprised that he plays an 8 when Salah goes to AFCON, and then Szoboszlai plays on the right.
Yeah. I mean, Szoboszlai on the right wouldn't be. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that. Will Szoboszlai be the player that goes and plays right wing in January when Salah's away? And then I got thinking, and then I thought, you know, I've been thinking about it. You know what? He might play Diaz there.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He might play Diaz there because
Diaz.
This is when I like Diaz and Darwin together, by the way, is when Diaz takes up the right-hand spot. The reason I think sometimes Diaz and Darwin struggle in games, because Darwin naturally goes to the left of the pitch. It's just a natural thing he does. You know, he hunkers around that middle left section of a pitch, you know, and he goes over there naturally. He always has done. He always will. A bit like Omri used to take that central spot up, but naturally drift to the left because he feels stronger there, you know. And Darwin will always pick up that sort of the area pitch. But sometimes if Diaz is coming inside, they are then too close to each other. When Diaz is over on the right-hand side, say like the game against Arsenal, they were further apart, which allowed Darwin Nunez more room in the central area to run into, because Diaz pulled out nice and wide on the right, got good quality balls into Darwin. I think that works. I just don't think Darwin, them two together on the left, worked as much. That's my only reason there. Let me know what you reckon, guys.
That's the reason why I don't think we need as many midfielders as we're all saying that we do, is because I think Gakpo could play that midfield role 100%. I think he's really good. I think he'd fit that position quite well. I mean, even when we signed Szoboszlai, I actually thought if we don't sign a player to go in there, there's a chance that Gakpo could do that Hendo role. But obviously, we've got the perfect player now. Gakpo,
yeah.
You know, free to do more forward stuff.
I'm just excited. To be fair, you know, we've got so much strength in depth and different options up front this year. It's you know, Gakpo can play in the center. He can play on the left. Could probably play on the right. You know, Nunez obviously he's come at another. You know, he's going to want to improve on that as well. He's got an opportunity. Jota, out of all the, you know, the guys, like I think I said this before, I think he's probably our best finisher, our best natural finisher in that team.
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
Salah obviously bangs in the goals for sure, but he's so composed. It's something that Darwin Nunez doesn't have at the moment, until he gets confident or plays more games. But I think obviously with Jota, I don't believe he's going to start. I think it's based on injuries and stuff like that. But if he's on form, he needs to be keeping his place until he maybe drops a little bit of form and gives opportunities. Because I think with him, you bang more.
Yeah. Definitely. 12th man. The link is in the WhatsApp group if you want to come on, my man, and have your say. Come in and have your say, man. Don't worry about, you know, it's all healthy debate, man. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. It's all healthy debate. Everyone's got.
I think you're both wrong.
Yeah, everyone sees football differently. You know what I mean? Everyone sees football differently. Yeah. I see. You know, when I see players that have natural ability, I don't want their ability taken away a little bit to fit a system and the way the manager wants them to play, because then you take a bit of their specialness away from them. You know, like Wayne Rooney was never told not to do. No one ever told Wayne Rooney to turn his aggression down because he takes something away from the player. You know, you just got to let that player have a bit of freedom. Of course, you got to coach them and give them roles in the team and stuff like that, because otherwise you just got a loose cannon on your hands. I'm not saying any of that, but at this moment in time, for the way Liverpool play, Jota, Gakpo, and Salah suit Liverpool's style at this moment in time. Let's bring in another man here. Albert, how you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Not bad, man. Not bad.
The Godfather.
Hey, Baz, how are you?
There you go, pal,
Mac, how are you?
I'm good, man.
I'm good, mate. Thanks for coming on my show last night, Albert.
No problem. It's always a pleasure to hang with the boys, man.
So what's your feelings on the subject, Albert? What we've been talking about?
What was the topic again?
Liverpool's best front three.
Sorry?
Liverpool's best front three. Look, here's the. Let me get the.
Oh well, I think that's
There's
easy.
the picture there.
That's easy. That's real easy.
A, B, or C.
Do you want to know what it should be or what it will be?
Give us both.
It will be A that it should be.
Okay.
It will be A.
It will be Jota. Sorry. It will be Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah.
Yeah.
B.
B.
But it should be Jota, Gakpo, and Salah.
Yeah, there you go. So we're all saying C. This is what we're all saying. We're all saying C. The reason I'm saying C, Albert, is because I think that front three of Gakpo, Salah, and Jota has better chemistry.
And Gakpo is a supreme footballer.
Yeah, I think
he is a supreme footballer. I mean, let's see what will happen. But he may end up even topping Firmino.
Yeah, I mean, he's as close as a Bobby. Look, he's ability-wise, you know, Bobby. Well, I think we're all going to look back on Bobby in the years to come and realise how good a footballer he was. You know, how special Bobby Firmino was. But if Gakpo can get anything close to that, and I've not seen any difference yet, guys, that Klopp wants to go away from the false attacker role.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Why did Gakpo play false nine straight away when he came in?
He doesn't. He doesn't want to either. The thing is, you see, here's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. I think Gakpo has simply exceeded his expectation. When he brought him in, he didn't think he was that good.
No.
Because he probably brought him in to cover the left side. You remember when he came in, Luis Diaz was injured. So he brought him in to cover the left side, keep Nunez as a center forward, and have, of course, Salah on the other side. But Gakpo has exceeded expectations.
Your mic's gone now, but
Sorry?
you've gone really, really low.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So he simply just exceeded expectations, and now he's undroppable. The match that we watched of the the practice match or whatever, that's what I call it, against Karlsruhe. You immediately notice those who you cannot drop. McAllister, you can't drop him. You just can't. Gakpo, you can't drop him. You can't drop him. I wasn't that impressed with Szoboszlai, to be honest, but I think he also comes good. I mean, some of them takes time, but you can see McAllister is an instant hit. You can see Gakpo has lost none of his sharpness. You can see Jota has lost none of the sharpness going towards the end of the end of the season. And if Jota can combine with McAllister to put those balls, perfectly weighted balls, on his foot in the manner in which he did, hey, the sky is the ceiling. Remember the 1-2 he did with Gakpo as well to score his first goal?
That was sauce.
Yeah, you can't drop him. You can't drop
And you
him.
also
But
have to think about next season. The offside rule's different. Those passes, the attacker's going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
With VAR.
Is that offside?
no, but they're not. K-Mac, they're not implementing it. They are not implementing it in the Premier League.
No, then it's not coming to England, is it? It's only
It's
in
not.
Italy,
Oh, for
and
God's
Germany, and
sake.
I think it's Italy,
What's the
Germany.
point in that?
If it was
Sorry.
It's
coming
not.
to,
They are only
that off-
testing it. But
if
you
that
know,
offside rule came to England, Darwin's getting
that was
50 assistants.
something. K-Mac, listen, that was something that Arsene Wenger proposed, and so they are testing it. I think in the women's league in Sweden and Netherlands. But let me tell you what. With the kind of backline that we have, you don't want that.
No. Well, it might.
You don't want that.
To be compared,
be
fair,
careful
That
what
might
you
help
wish
us.
for, man.
it might help us because we won't
We
play
might
the
stop
high line
doing
no more. We won't play the high line no more.
Giving me a heart attack every game.
You don't want that because by the end of the season, you'll be in the ICU.
I would have been in the ICU after watching that Karlsruhe game. How many chances did they get?
Exactly. And we up. I mean, yeah, it should be, but I think Klopp also really likes Diaz, so he will start Diaz instead of Gakpo.
Well, big up 12th man in chat in here now. Big up 12th man. How you doing? Well,
Appreciate it.
Look, there's instead of A, B, and C, is there a mixture of a three you would prefer? Is there a mixture? Is there
You know what? This is what I'm looking at. Like, I don't really even care who starts right now. I just like the fact that we have these options.
Oh, a great option. Great option.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, you know, it's now teams will have to basically change their lineups, you know, change their formations, change their tactics to go against our front three alone, you know. And also, hey, you have a front three, that's great, but there's going to be times when there's going to be technically a front four. I believe that there's going to be times when you're going to see a Gakpo, you're going to see possibly, you know, a Nunez and a Hata, you know, or obviously Mo. And out of all those things, Mo was the constant, obviously, but you're going to see some type of variations with that formation.
Yeah, well, when you're chasing a game, yeah.
Well, not actually when you're chasing a game. I mean, like, there were times when we started off games with basically four forwards in the game. So I understand, like, there's options that we have in this club now that we didn't necessarily, as long as we're healthy, that's the one thing, knock on wood, as long as we're healthy, we have a very healthy selection of forwards to choose from that we can mix it up and have a very versatile approach towards an attack. And that's the biggest thing I'm excited to see, and how Klopp orchestrates that for us.
Yes, I mean,
But if we don't get a good DM or two good DMs, we'll have to keep winning matches 5-4 and 4-3 and like happened the other day.
I agree with that. But the part and point that I want to definitely put out to the panel and to the chat, at least from my perspective, is this: Klopp has always said that our defense starts from the front lines counter press. Our defense starts from how we initiate winning the ball back. So if anything, why my point was about Diaz, at least, and about anyone that plays in our front line, counter pressing has to be something that you understand and have in your locker to be able to work in this system. So
Diaz has it. Darwin don't. That's the issue.
What's that?
Diaz has it. I agree with you there, but Darwin doesn't, and that's the issue.
Okay, but that's something, again, that I believe when you said, you know, that's, if Darwin doesn't have it, in your opinion at least, okay, that is something that personally I believe I've seen him really focus on gaining in his skill set. It's something that Klopp is definitely orchestrating into his skill set, because he understands the fact that you're not going to play if you can't counter press, and two, you have to make that effort to make it easier for you, because counter pressing, my point about Diaz and with Darwin too, if you know how to counter press and you're able to, you know, recover the ball early and quickly in the opposition's half, you're going to be recovering that ball in opposition in placements on the pitch that are opportune for goal opportunities. It's simple. So if you're recovering it so far up the pitch, you're going to turn around and say, that's the goal right in front of me.
Yeah,
and
that's what we did yesterday. Those 2 goals that Jota scored
from
were counter-pressing goals.
The and the best 3 at doing that right now are Jota, Gakpo, and Salah. You know, they're the best 3 at doing what 12 man is saying there at counter pressing right now. Diaz can do it because he's got that South American flair about him, where he's got that hunger to win the ball back. It's just natural to him, which I'll give that is a fair point there. It's just Darwin. There's a reason he came out of the team. There's a reason Gakpo plays in the number 9 position, you know, and that, you know, Klopp's even spoke about it before with Darwin. He doesn't yet know how to defend from the front, as he says. So, and Gakpo does straight away. It's natural to him, and that's why Gakpo's playing. So I can see. That's all I've ever said. I'm cool with always play. I love Diaz. I love Darwin. They're going to be tremendous for us. But I want players that suit the manager's system straight away, that you don't have to get them in and they're raw, and it's down the line in year or 2 we see the difference, because Liverpool got a fire next season. I think we can all agree with that. Liverpool can't have a slow start next season. They've got to be on the front foot and going straight away, which is why I believe Klopp is putting out, for the first time, put out a really strong team in pre-season. And that's the reason. So that's part of what I'm going with. Yeah, that's what I'm going with, Baz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, we definitely need to start straight away. You know, I mean, the beginning of the season. But at the same time, if we do bring in a DM, and obviously we brought in the McAllisters of this world and the Szoboszlais, it may just take a little while for them to settle. Maybe not necessarily much McAllister. McAllister's been there. If we get a Lavia in, then he'll have had the experience for sure. But I think because we're basically putting a new heart in this body, in this squad. You know what I mean? The midfield and stuff like that. It's pretty much the whole midfield when you deep it, isn't it? You know what I mean? Just like one line of new players, whereas the strikers they've been there. Defenders are pretty much there, and you know, tactically, the midfield is a big thing. Do you know what I mean? So, but hopefully we can.
Yeah, Albert, we're getting some feedback off your line at the moment, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
I think. I think obviously it all depends on the formation that he plays. Like, it'd be really interesting to see the next game to see whether he maybe puts those strikers with the different midfielders. But you know, it's probably going to be another 2 or 3 games before we see McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Trent all in the midfield together. But that, I can't wait to see that, because I think that's going to be really what's going to make us pair.
Is it better?
Because
Much better.
Yeah, because having Trent and McAllister in that midfield, they've been there, done it in the Premier League. It would make Szoboszlai's job a bit easier, because yesterday I felt like he wasn't helped by his side because we had 2 kids that didn't really play that well.
Yeah, and with Szoboszlai, I think the issue with Szoboszlai is that he couldn't look. McAllister, like when I watched the second half with McAllister, I think he was able to get further forward in that game because Jota and Gakpo held the ball better. And because they, like 12 man saying, the counter press, if you're holding the ball and you got the ball continuously at the higher end of the pitch, your team can then squeeze up and win the ball back in higher areas. And that's what you want. That's why you saw McAllister many times in that pre-season game, winning the ball back in higher ends of the pitch. You know, he won it back in the assist to Jota. You know, that's what you want. And with Szoboszlai, I think he was playing a little bit deeper because I don't think he could get forward, because when the ball went to the front men, it was coming back all the time. You know, he couldn't get in, he couldn't get further forward and interact with them as much. That's why I want to see how Szoboszlai does with playing with Gakpo and Jota maybe in the next game on Monday. You know, see how good Szoboszlai looks then, playing off them further forward. Because let's face it, we don't want Szoboszlai. No one in this panel wants Szoboszlai to play deep. We want him around the box, being creative, getting shots off. That's what we bought him. That's what we watched at
But
Leipzig.
Klopp
The quality.
said something during his interview that I was very happy about.
Yeah.
He was kind of upset that everybody was standing around and looking for Trent.
Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen with Trent there, ain't it?
Yeah, and I was very happy he said that, because that's an observation I made. I didn't know that my amateur eyes were right. That, I mean, like, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Same thing with Nunez. You get a chance as a lead striker, put the ball in the back of the net, let the net rumble. What were you looking for Salah for? What were you looking for him for? So I think that going into, like, when the business end of the season begins, we need that McAllister effect up at the higher side of the pitch. And I also think one of the things Klopp is planning to do is basically, if you have the ball, right, you are defending anyway, because if you have the ball and your opponents don't have it, you are defending. And if you're putting pressure on them, then they're defending. So hopefully it all comes together. But like I said, we definitely need a defensive midfielder, and a very good one. Yeah. I think as of today, that, man, the ideal scenario would be for us to go all in and get Caicedo.
Yeah.
I've got to go. Can I?
Yeah,
say, sorry, 12 man. I've got to go in a sec. I'm just going to say one point on the back of Albert. Actually, that makes a lot of sense, Klopp saying that, because we've relied on Trent way too much, and it's kind of got into a bit of a robotic mode where players just automatically just expect Trent to just provide that worldie of a ball to them, when we've now got other players all over the pitch that can do it. And that makes sense, Klopp saying that. Look, stop looking for Trent. You can all do it on your own. And the thing about that as well is, we played that game with McAllister on the right-hand side in that second half. Like, naturally, he's on the left. So, he could be even better on the left, coming into the season. And also, I don't like Nunez being on the right-hand side either. Nunez misses a lot of chances. He doesn't feel comfortable on the right-hand side of the attack, when he's closer to Salah. And the thing about it as well is, he passed it to Salah. Salah was on the inside, so Salah was on the left-hand side of him. Like, I don't think Nunez is comfortable in that area. So I think that probably needs to get coached, where he doesn't make that run. He makes the run on the left, because you look at most of his goals last season, they came from him coming in off the left, not from coming in on the right. So I just thought I'd point that out. But I've got to go. But great show, guys. All right.
Always, K-Max. See you soon, man.
Right. Take care.
What I think, though, I don't know if everyone will agree with this. I don't think we'll see Szoboszlai start the season maybe as much as McAllister does, because McAllister playing for Brighton, he's used to the Premier League already. McAllister's just doing what McAllister does, I think. And also, I've said this, Curtis Jones deserves to keep his spot. People might hate it, but what has Curtis Jones done so badly that he shouldn't be in the team no more?
You are not wrong. You are not wrong at all.
He had a great end to the season. He played, 10, 11 games straight and was very, very good. And then he had a great under-21s. His form's higher. At the moment, he might take that left-hand side up.
You are not wrong.
So
you're not wrong.
So it's a difficult one. 12 man, I know you wanted to say something. Go for it, man.
I wanted to say is there was a comment in the chat, and it was by Jay Kismet, who said counter pressing only works if it's done in tandem. Players have to be sharp, and I agree with that completely. And that's the thing with myself, is that I believe that for our counter press and for our defense to actually have a real impact, it's got to be in unison. It has to work. It has to have some fluidity with it, that everyone understands the spacing. Everyone understands when to press, when not to press, when it is to apply what type of pressure that you're going to go. Just not go like full blast into something, or maybe whatever it is, whatever those lines are, because there was a quote that I remember. This basically says something. It's a Klopp spoke about last year around January. He spoke about how our midfield isn't a problem. And that's something that a lot of people had issue with, because a lot of people are saying, oh, midfield, we need midfield. Yeah. And I think that what I'm trying to press or trying to stress here for everyone to understand is that his quote was, it's a general problem, not a midfield problem. Defending starts up front. If you don't defend from there, then the midfield have no chance. And that's the key issue, is that we have to have a front three or 4-3 or whatever we're going to utilize, okay, that counter presses effectively, understands their roles, and is able to really pressure. And with that, it'll open up the field for Trent. It'll open up the field for Dom. It'll open up the field for McAllister. And those players will be able to utilize their skill sets even more so than having to rely and track back or do all these different things that puts them on the back foot. And that's something that I just wanted to press out.
You are right. Look, if you look at Liverpool under Klopp, the man who led that press was always Bobby.
Yes.
He was the one who led that press. And they did it in training. Klopp always spoke about it. It's like Bobby would start the press. Once Bobby pressed, Mane and Salah could press, the midfield could press, and the fullbacks followed. And the team squeezed up. It's a transition through it. Now, I don't know who the leader of the press is right now. And that's something we'll obviously find out as the season goes on. Is it Gakpo? Is Gakpo the leader of the press? Is he the one who goes and chases down from the middle first? Is that why he's playing that number 9 role right now instead of Darwin? Is that the reason he came in January and took that false 9 role, because that's the start of the press there and everyone goes? I'm not sure. That is something we're going to find out as next season goes on, because there is one thing I will say. I know a lot of people, it's a great attacking talent we have. I'm so happy we've got this attacking talent in our team. I really am. I don't want it going anywhere. But my thing is, I think you still need to have in your best 11. Klopp needs to find out who his best front three is, because you need that consistency in your side. Then so that front three plays most of the time, and then you got your 2 other players that can come in and have games, obviously, where they start, occasionally come in as substitutes, because you need consistency. The players need to gel with each other, get used to each other, know what runs going to be whose. If Diaz plays one game, then Gakpo plays one game, and Jota plays one game, then go back to Diaz. Whoever's playing left back, do I overlap? Do I underlap? Do I stay back? If Trent's got the ball, he knows, Trent's got the ball, I'm going to make this run. And that sort of thing. So you need consistency in your team. There is no doubt about it. Go on. What did you going to say, Baz?
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, I just came off and that, but I heard what you were saying. In terms of Jones staying in there, definitely, I 100% agree with that. I think the guy's done nothing wrong, and I have a feeling that Szoboszlai will come on initially as an impact substitute. Initially, until he finds his feet and stuff like that, because we don't have strength in depth in midfield, but he is definitely going to play the part. I think Curtis Jones will definitely do that, but I haven't seen him play on the right though. That's the only thing. But if he can fit there, it's great. And I think the other thing as well, I was just going to say with Gakpo, I think when they bought Gakpo, I don't think they originally bought him to play as that false 9. I actually think they bought him to cover Diaz and that potential injury or loss of form, but he's done so well in that role. And you could see last season, like he had the quality, but what was happening is maybe certain little things that he weren't doing right yet, but he's learning, and he's learning at a great rate as well. And I think because he's quite a big guy as well, he's definitely going to be the one, I think, that leads the press from the top. I think he's definitely going to be that, because he's got the legs, he's got the speed, he's got the strength. You know what I mean? I think he's a willing learner, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. This guy has just been brilliant since he's come in. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
No, definitely.
I think Gakpo's biggest asset is his head, his intellect.
Yeah.
His football intellect. He's very, very, very smart. And I see him and McAllister causing all kinds of problems. for you know, when he came, people said he wasn't fast enough, but I made the argument that it's the acceleration, not when he's cruising, because he's very languid. But if a tall guy is running to get to a point, and the short guy is also running to get to the same point, the short guy has to accelerate more. So that's really obvious. But he gets there. If you saw the second goal he scored against Manchester United, within a blink of an eye, he was where he should be, and he just chips the goalkeeper when the movement was being made towards the goal. I think though that we may have a dilemma with keeping all of them happy, and in the end, I think that we are going to have a problem with Darwin.
I mean, a good manager keeps these guys
unless
happy.
Klopp simply decides he's going to go 3 back, so that every the so-called marquee players can have, because you can't play Nunez any other place other than as a center forward or as a substitute to change the formation in game. I there's no way I see him benching Gakpo. It's not possible. Anybody who watched the game from the last time, you saw the difference Gakpo makes when he comes in. I mean, it's just night and day. You can't bench him. There's no way you bench him.
Do you know what I'd like to see us try? Just one game in this pre-season, I want Klopp to give it a go. Play Darwin and Gakpo as a 2. Play Darwin and Gakpo as a 2, because if you go back and look at the best way of Darwin plays, he likes playing off somebody. You know, and Gakpo can be that player who drops deeper. Drops deeper. He's better with his back to goal than Darwin is. Can hold the ball up better. And then Darwin can find them runs in that space in behind centre backs where Gakpo's going to take one away for him. And that could work. That could really, really work. And I think that would work to Darwin's strengths more.
Is Klopp prepared to drop Salah?
Well, this is the thing. Mo Salah, look, this is the thing. Mo Salah, as far as I'm concerned, Mo Salah is undroppable because he is Mo Salah.
That's the thing.
So that's the thing. In any other lineup, if we didn't have Mo Salah about, I think that's something we could try. And this is
because what you are saying in the 4, if we have Zoboslai and McAllister in the team, without Gakpo, that's the best thing to do. You put Gakpo like a shade behind Nunez, and that's a terrible team to deal with. But you have to feel Salah, you have to accommodate him, and you can't keep him too wide. He has to be able to come in. So that's the dilemma we have. It's a good problem to have, though, if it doesn't create discord in the dressing room.
This is what I'm saying. We've got a great forward lineup. I'm happy with every single one of them. I'm happy with every single one of them. It's up the clock now. They work his magic and find out how he makes it all work, because we have got talent up there. Right, let's talk about the Henderson situation a minute. I'm starting to feel bad for Hendo now. I'm starting to feel a bit upset for him, because these opinionated, backstabbing, hypocritical journalists coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden. I've got my things on Hendo. The reason I want Hendo to leave the football club is because he's past his best now. There's nothing wrong with that. People will go past their best. It's time to move on. I've said it many times. If Henderson was on the transfer market tomorrow and he was playing for another club, and you got told Liverpool were interested in Jordan Henderson in 2023, social media would die. It'd break down, because they'd say he's not good enough for Liverpool. So I'm not worried about Hendo going, on the fact that he probably should leave, and it's the right time for him to go for his career. Right? And everyone's sort of supporting that. But the amount of the media guys, the media that are coming out and they're crucifying Hendo. Hendo never asked to be the face of these communities. He never went and go, I'll be the face of these communities. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'll be the face. Don't worry. I'll do it all for charity and everything. I'll be the face here. No, he just stood up for him because he's a nice bloke. Yeah, he's a decent human being. He just stood up for him. Yeah, he just stood up for him and went, "This is how I feel about it." Yeah.
Sound like Brendan Rodgers there, mate.
Yeah, I did a bit. Right, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then look, and then Melissa Reddy. Oh my God. And then he's got an offer to go to the Saudi League at 33 years of age. He's been told by his manager that, we're moving on. Your minutes are going to be less. You're more of a squad player now. He's never been that at Liverpool. He's always been a first teamer. And this is what's going to happen. Saudi have come along. Here's 350 grand a week, tax free. He's going to be earning more than Mo's salary at Liverpool for wages because Mo's got 40% on his tax. I don't blame Hendo for wanting to go. He's got a family. He's got kids to look after. These hypocrites from the media now slagging him off. The radio stations going at him. Oh, I don't know how he can come back from it. Look, I've said my part on the Hendo thing because everyone go back on my videos and say, "Oh, you said this about Hendo." And I admit it. I will keep my thing about Hendo. If he doesn't leave the football club and he stays, for me, he shouldn't be captain anymore because he wants to leave. I'm not having a player who just decided to stay, but he wanted to leave. You just take the captaincy off him, That's the way I feel about it, right? But the way the media are going at him, 12th man, it stinks a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. And if anything, you know what? I look at it like this. I'm completely on board with what you said, that he didn't necessarily, go out of his way. He never was like, "Oh, I'm championing these concerns or anything like that because I'm a part of the movement, or I'm like that centerpiece of this movement." More so, just like you said, he's just a outright good-natured, good-hearted person, which is positive, and I'm all about that. But at the same time, him going to Saudi Arabia doesn't mean like it's a betrayal. If anything, it means that talisman is now in a place where he can maybe speak up for your causes. He can maybe do something for those things behind quote unquote enemy lines, in essence, And I mean, like, people just automatically just want to turn on him so quickly. But in reality of it all, I think of it as like, yeah, now you have someone who is going to be in a place where he can stand up for you. You don't necessarily, I mean, call him to board, like if he's going to be in this place of Saudi Arabia where they don't allow this or they don't allow that, they knew what they're getting. They obviously know that they're getting someone that is, very pro LGBTQ and everything else. And, and everything else, like on at least on those concerns, hey, utilize him for where he's standing right now. Why not?
Look, I think I can speak for myself. I don't know about you guys, but you probably feel the same. I'm pro gay rights, accept gay rights and all that. But it don't mean I can't go and work for Saudi. Do you know what I mean? I can have, because if we're going down that route the journalists want to go down, I don't want to see him wearing night gear. I don't want to see him wearing any Hugo Boss stuff because we all know what certain army wore Hugo Boss uniform. I can't say it for modernization reasons. Don't drive a Mercedes. Don't do all this stuff because we know if you're going down that route, Apple. Don't do anything with Apple if you know things about that. So right. We can't go down this route. And then they bring David Beckham out from nowhere, who's been retired 50 years. Right, and then they bring David Beckham in the conversation about because he went and signed on with Qatar for the World Cup, and they're talking about, where's his morals at? His morals are still there. His morals are still there. He's just going to somewhere to work, Right. And also at the same time, you're saying that everyone in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and these countries, every human being there thinks the same. You're also saying that every human being there all thinks the same thing that the media think they're thinking, that they're all against it and stuff like that. Come on.
Yeah.
Politics, too much politics.
It's the politicians and the governments and the princes that are thinking this and put their regime over the public. You really think all the public think the same?
They want him there. That's the thing. You know what I mean? They put in an offer. No one's objecting. I don't think anyone in Saudi Arabia is objecting for him to come and play football. That's what they need to focus on. This agenda from some fans and obviously the journals and stuff like that. Yeah, look, just people need to grow up now and realize that this guy gave, in one of the chats there, I can't remember who said it, but it's true. He's given his heart and soul to Liverpool. Yeah. He's definitely not no Messi or anything like that. Yeah. But you know what? He's done well for Liverpool. Look, he wants a tan and he wants whatever he's getting. You know what I mean? Let him go. He's a brilliant servant to us, and just let him go. And this politics needs to stop.
The politics in football is mad, especially when it comes from the West. Yeah. Because as I say, we live in, three of us here, well, two of us here, live in the UK. And we can say for a fact that we're a first world country, one of the wealthiest countries on planet Earth. And we have food banks for the poor that can't afford food. That's disgusting and shouldn't happen. Yeah. It's just disgusting, right? We have this horrible knife crime in this country at the moment. And this knife culture in this country is disgustingly bad at the moment. Where do we sit in telling and giving advice to other people that you can't move there because of your beliefs?
Did you say knife only?
Yeah. We got a massive knife culture in this country.
We do better than knife, right?
It's because we're hard. It's because we're hard.
We bring guns. We bring guns to knife fights. I know.
See, Brits get close up. We get in your face. So we're a bit.
Right.
What it is. But no, I don't get where all this comes from. Politics is terrible, and the only thing I said about Jordan Henderson as well is that it feels like Hendo's leaving through the back door, like unnoticed. Naby Keita got a plaque and a send off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got a plaque and a send off, and Hendo's leaving through the back door.
Yeah.
And we might not see Hendo again as fans. That's it. He went to Germany for pre-season, spoke to some people. He got in shape. Good for him. Everyone should get in shape, no matter who you are. He looks great. And he wants to leave, but I don't think the club are doing him a disservice or anything like that. I think the club are handling it well. They've told him what they going forward, what the thing is. The club's come out and said that. And now they're trying to get a good offer for Jordan. For the club as well. Now, the club are in their right to get an asking price for their captain. No, they don't have to just give him away. Oh, here's Jordan Henderson. No, they're in their right to get an asking price for him. And they've not asked too much. They've come to a conclusion of 15 million.
Market value.
Yeah, I think the club have worked really well in this. I think the team that are trying to buy him maybe try to take the mick at the start, but all clubs do that, and it's all fine. What my problem is that I don't think Jordan can come out and say anything now because the media's got so bad against his move there.
Yeah.
That it's like he can't come out and say anything. I don't remember Madrid fans and Madrid journalists turning their back on Benzema.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know he's a Muslim himself.
Jamie, there is a marked. Let me use. Let me be. It's almost like a semi-illiteracy. Okay, when it comes to the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar, if you have a mortgage, you have borrowed Saudi money. If you have a store card, you've borrowed Saudi money. If you have a credit card, a car loan, if you try to refinance any loan that you have borrowed Saudi money because they are the second largest investors in Western hedge funds and banks and what have you. Check out the portfolio of the Saudi PIF. It's only marginally smaller than that of the Chinese. So if you want to go by that extension, give up all your credit cards. Those journalists, give up your credit cards, give up your mortgage, give up whatever. Just make sure wherever you borrow money, it's money that is devoid of Saudi PIF money, and you won't find much. Okay? And then Helen Reddy. Helen Reddy is a fifth generation Sri Lankan emigre from South Africa who came to the UK working for the biggest digital cable company in South Africa called DSTV. They have almost a monopoly over the whole of Africa, right? And she came to the UK and never went back.
She's fit though.
So looking for greener pastures shouldn't be lost on her, right? To almost a person, all of us who support Liverpool towards the end of last year, if your fairy godfather came and asked you, what did you want to happen to Hendo, you would have said you wanted him gone from the team. Now we've got the best of both worlds. Somebody wants to quote unquote recycle your garbage, and you're complaining that what are we complaining about? Henderson has a right to seek greener pastures. When Henderson boarded the plane and went to play in Qatar for England, they didn't complain. Qatar has worse laws in some cases than Saudi Arabia, right? And let us stop trying to tell other people how to live.
Mm-hmm.
These people have a religious edict that abhors a certain practice. Mind you, it wasn't too long ago that the West was executing people for homosexuality. The person who decoded the German submarines, Professor Alan Turing, in the 1940s, in the 50s, he was jailed for homosexuality. A movie was even made about him, starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Those of you who've seen that movie, the guy was hounded and he was murdered.
Yeah.
For homosexuality. So let's stop the pretense. These guys can only be brought about, in quotes, slowly. Okay? I've been to Saudi Arabia twice. I've been to Qatar about 3 or 4 times. There's nobody running around in the middle of the streets there chasing homosexuals.
Yeah, I know.
They have said it's a crime. Just like if I bring my 2 wives to the UK and everybody knows that I came there with 2 wives, I will be arrested for bigamy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
because bigamy is an offense. Even though 3 consenting adults are choosing to get entangled, I will be arrested for having 2 wives.
So
if I got married twice in the UK, it's a crime.
Certainly.
If I got married twice in the US, it's a crime.
To be fair, once is enough, Albert.
You know, I've been around it for what?
You got the wives in the chats, and
I've been around it for a while. It's once it's enough.
What it is, all countries have their laws. All countries have their laws.
All countries have laws that we don't agree with.
That we all obey. We don't agree with all laws. No one does, you obey by them.
Jamie, do you know that there is a law, a British Empire law called the Jaywalking Law or the Vagrancy Act? A policeman can arrest you on suspicion on what he thinks you are going to do before you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? A policeman can see you, Jamie, and he thinks you're going to commit a crime, so he arrests you.
I'm not surprised.
It's called the Vagrancy Act because you were walking around a neighborhood. You look suspicious, he's arrested you. But back to the topic.
This white ginger man cannot look suspicious.
Back to the topic. You see, this guy has gotten a contract that's going to pay him more than twice what he earns at Liverpool. Before that, he's gone to the manager and told the manager that, ask the manager, what's up with me for the rest of this, for next season. And the manager has looked him in the eye and told him, look here, I stood up for you, got you a new contract, but you're simply not good enough. So I've brought in some new guys. As honest as Klopp could have been with him, he has been. And said, I think you should pursue. First of all, you're going to play for Steven Gerrard, your boss somebody. He handed you the captaincy. So if you want to go learn something from him. You probably may want to be a manager. What's wrong with that? Why has he now suddenly been called a beacon for the LGBTQ community when he is not a practicing member of that community? He only stood up and said that discrimination against gays is wrong. And this, as a black man in America, I can tell you that discrimination is discrimination, and I'm the last person to discriminate against anybody. But you also can't say that people don't have their prejudices. I can't wipe away prejudice.
No.
Okay? Neither can I wipe away bad law. So the man is going there simply to earn money, to look after his children, his children's children, his children's children's children. The guy is going to earn 1.4 million pounds a month, tax-free. Hey, guys, let's be clear here. If anybody told me that I was going to earn that kind of money, and you come home and tell your wife that because you are a patriot or because you're a moralist of some sort, you won't go, she'll kick you out of the house. She'll tell you, get out of the house and get there and go and start working your ass off and bring the money home, because we're going to need it when you retire. How many footballers have not been bankrupt, desolate? I mean, star footballers. Where's Paul Gascoigne today? Where's Jermaine Pennant?
But that's what
Where
I'm saying.
is...
That's it, Albert. I mean, just let Henderson make his money. All the press going at him and everything. Just leave him be, man. Leave him be. He's not. I've not seen anyone go for Neves in it. I've not seen one Premier League official, one reporter that reports on the Premier League slagging off Neves, who's 26, by the way, going there. Not one. But it's because Hendo's English, and all of a sudden, like, we got the geezer on Sky on Talk Sport the other day. I don't know if you guys heard that. He's a reporter on Sky Sports News, I believe, but he's homosexual, and he tore Hendo apart because of that. But what's it got to do with Hendo that he's gay and he's moving to that country? I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Just leave him be, man.
They all complained before the World Cup, and then went to Qatar, enjoyed themselves, and came back and said,
you know what? It's a great World Cup. Look, this is what happened. That World Cup, right? No idiots, no smashing around the city centres, no one drunk and disorderly.
No yobos.
No yobos, yeah. Beautiful. Yeah? And one of the best World Cups, if not the best World Cup of all time, right? Beautifully run, right? No matter what their laws and rules are, it is what it is, yeah? But it's really good, yeah? Go back to the Euros at Wembley Stadium. Yobbos everywhere, breaking into the stadium, and causing damage and all that sort of stuff, and making it look terrible. As the Englishmen, we're like, oh my God, they made us look like stupid.
The Saudis are aiming to host 2030 World Cup. Yeah. They are planning to host it with Egypt. So they have a specific plan to capture the CAF vote and the Asian Confederation votes, and if they do it, the game is done. So I suspect that there is a media thing at stage in place to make sure they don't do it. But they are not as stupid as people think they are, These guys are some of the most well-educated people on the planet. They know exactly what they're doing. So let's stop. I mean, where's Robbie Fowler working? Robbie Fowler is managing a team in the
Saudi Arabia. They've not mentioned anything about Robbie Fowler. I know.
Yeah, nobody said anything.
Let's move on, because I think we can all agree it's probably the right time for Hendo to leave Liverpool. But the way he's been spoke about is a bit out of order.
And you see that just quickly, when they do that, it's going to stop other people from taking up courses to help the disaffected in the society, right? Mm-hmm. Because if he hadn't worn rainbow armband and rainbow shoes, nobody's gonna say anything, because other people go, nobody has said nothing.
Before Jamie, before we jump off the subject, though, I just wanted to say one little piece. Look, I've been called a football romantic. I understand that. Sentimental at times. I understand that too. But I think the biggest reason why I have had some type of issues with the way this went, and look, I'm happy with the exchange of us getting 40 M's possibly for Flacco, and 12 M's for Hendo. That's great money that we can utilize for our future as for Liverpool and everything else. However, it's more so for me. I'm just looking at the fact that what you mentioned earlier about Naby, about Ox, and those players that played a role in our success, but played certainly a substantial lesser role in our success than Hendo and Flacco have played in it. And that's where not having the proper send off, not being able to give them their honor guard, not being able to, have the Anfield, the pictures and the emotions and kind of like the emotional release that you'll get from seeing the Anfield crowd finally say thank you, and everything else to these players that have meant so much to a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us. Okay. I think that's important. I think closure is important sometimes for players and fans alike, and that's something that we've kind of, with the way that this is all went down, it kind of, steals that opportunity for a lot of us. And that's something that's unfortunate. It's something that obviously we'll all have to get over, but it's something that I think needs to be mentioned. That's all.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair point, man.
I think that it's not too late. It can be done. Gakpo came to Liverpool and went back for his send-off at PSV later on. It can be done, and it should be done. You see, there's a certain aspects to life that sometimes you start school, like we've all started school with people who were very, very smart. By the 12th grade, they were nothing because they weren't disciplined. There are some people who started, they weren't doing so well, and they became professors. Henderson is like one of those people. He makes up for his lack of talent or whatever it is, if you want, with his high levels of discipline. That's why he's been able to play for Liverpool for 12 years. It's not easy to do that. So I think that much as many of us wanted him gone, and I'm one of them, I think that he shouldn't be denied what he's owed. And that should be the end of story. We owe him a nice send-off, irrespective of whatever his credo is, whatever we think he's abandoning, whatever it is. If we could give Bobby Firmino a send-off, we owe Henderson 2 send-offs.
Yeah. I mean, he deserves his send-off. There's no doubt. And it's a crying shame what's happening and the way he's leaving, in my opinion. Fabinho. So Fabinho's on his way for 40 million. I've said this many times. Liverpool were never under. I don't think Liverpool were really after a number 6 this summer. They got McAllister and Szoboszlai in. If they were really after a number 6, I think they would have got one in before Szoboszlai. But they went and got Szoboszlai for 60 mil, got McAllister in. I think they felt like maybe Lavia could come in as that understudy 6 with Stefan and Fabinho as that 3 there. But I think the Fabinho transfer has caught Liverpool cold. I didn't think they'd get 40 million quid for him. I know a lot of people have gone on and said that, 40 million quid's not enough for Fabinho when you look at Casemiro's left for 70 and stuff like that, and he's much older. And I understand what people were saying by that thing, but football doesn't work. Football transfers doesn't work in what a player was a few years ago. It goes on what that player is now. They work in today, not yesterday. Now, if you sold Fabinho for 3 years ago, I'm looking at 70 million for him. Without question, 70, 80 million, even more. But that's not the Fabinho we got now, and I don't think Liverpool did the right thing. There's no way they could turn that 40 million down. They've taken it. Now it's about who we get. And this is going to be the hard thing for Liverpool because, as I said, when you're doing transfers, and I think what people don't understand about transfers is that it takes time. Dealing on this sort of money takes a long time to do transfers. Lawyers are involved, accountants, everything. And what you got to do in a transfer, you got to talk to the player. I know everyone gets say it's tapping up. Everyone does it. Otherwise, you can't get players in. It's as simple as that, right? And you talk to the player. You get to know the player. You get to see, does he want to come to Liverpool? Does that player want to come to Liverpool? And Liverpool haven't been in the market properly for a proper number 6. I think they were in the market for maybe a Lavia or a Kone, but they were young. But Fabinho was still going to be the main 6. They were going to be the understudy that can come in. They need a proper number 6 now. And Liverpool, we're almost in August, and they've got to look around now for that number 6 to come in. And we know how Liverpool work. They look for value in the market. It's just the way they do, right? That's what we do. And when it works, and we do it as good as anyone. There's no doubt about that. But I think Liverpool in a situation now where they might have to overspend on a player because they have no choice. Everyone in Europe knows we need a DM. It's like,
Jamie, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
Not to cut off your thought. I just wanted to ask you, what destroyer out there, or what 6 is out there that is world class level, other than Rodri? Okay, would you say is a player that can match Fabinho's contribution?
Caicedo.
Caicedo's the one.
Image.
But Caicedo, I've said this many times, I think Caicedo is heavily overhyped. I think he's a fabulous footballer, but he had 8 games up for the season before last. The last year was really his come-out season. And I think he's a fabulous player, but Liverpool are not going to spend 100 million on Caicedo because he's only played with it. They're not going to do the value for money thing. We might not like it. We might want the club to do that. But they're just not going to go away from their method. I think they're going to have to overpay for a player. I just don't think they're going to go for Caicedo. Now, and the problem with Caicedo is that Caicedo's been talking to Chelsea for a long time now. Chelsea might be further ahead of us in trying to get Caicedo. You know, you look at the Declan Rice or Man City thing. Arsenal was so ahead of that deal. Man City came in late with an offer. Arsenal matched it and went a bit above. City pulled out and went, we ain't going that high. And Rice was Arsenal's player because they spent so much time on Declan Rice. And the thing with Liverpool, they didn't expect to replace Fabinho in this transfer market. So now they're having to search for someone to replace him. I agree with Caicedo. I think Caicedo's a wonderful talent. But I wouldn't spend 100 million on Caicedo. So Liverpool got to look for a number 6 to come in that can play a role that Klopp wants. So don't forget, Klopp wants his number 6 to be a good passer of the football as well. You know, he don't want just a very good defensive midfielder that's very good at breaking up play and destroying. He wants the one that can do that and pass the football. I think we forget how good of a footballer Fabinho was. You know, he's a very good passer of the ball. You know, get long shots off. Look at Rodri. Yeah. Rodri's the best in the world because he's a destroyer and he's an exceptional footballer at the same time. You know, he can pass the ball, he can shoot. You know, he's got vision. He can break up play. He's got a brilliant mind. That's why he's the best in the world at his job at this moment in time. And Liverpool need that. And they're hard to find.
It's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. As in, like, we can talk about trying to get Fabinho or get a Fabinho replacement. And this is something that I did an episode on just this. One, we're all concentrating on how much FSG is going to have to spend just to get the player through the door from the team. However, once he gets here, we're going to have to pay him still. And people really don't understand the fact or don't want to talk about the fact that, look, we're in the quote of someone brought up Verratti or something like that, I think, recently. And I know Baz rates Verratti. And realistically, he's on 279,000 euros. That's not a player that would make him the second highest player on this team.
But hold up a second, all right? Sorry to cut you midway. You know I'm going to battle you. No, it's all love. No, but look, we still lost quite a lot of players. And if you need the right player, if we can afford him, because we obviously our wage bill significantly dropped now,
right?
Why can't we go and put someone like him in, or
Verratti?
No, not Verratti. Verratti, I rate him still, but I'd rather have a Kimmich. I know a few people in the chat, and I agree to some of them that they're not destroyed.
Baz, and the chat, and anyone else, because I mentioned Kimmich as well. I play FIFA or I play Football Manager. That's all well and good, but Kimmich is on, and this is in pounds, okay? 321,457 pounds a week.
No. Listen, bro. Come on. Let
me repeat that for you. That's in pounds. You're in England, okay? You know the conversion rate. 321,457 pounds a week.
bro, we can do a deal with him, bruv. Look, he can do a Mane, innit? He's bored at Bayern Munich, you know what I mean? He'll come and play for Liverpool, be a king at what, 3 years, pay him that wages, and then you know what I mean?
If that's the case, we might as well just go for Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong makes 618,000. 618,000 pounds.
My problem with Verratti is that he's too injury prone at the moment
and smokes. But you know,
Verratti, 30 years old.
Verratti took 4 days off when he had COVID. I mean, it's mad. You know, he seems to get wherever he gets that. And the way he's getting on now, I just don't think that's a player Liverpool will touch. Look, he's a big name. You know, Verratti. It's a spotlight name, and everyone, wow, Liverpool bought Verratti.
Yeah.
And when you get the player, he's not the Verratti he was.
Sorry, Jamie. So say for example, forget the guys that I've mentioned. Yeah, the point is, all right, if we've got money, okay, and we've reduced our wage bill for a point, and a DM is like a very vital part of our cog. Yeah, why can't we not go and pay top dollars for a
decent Baz, because not to cut you off, I just want to discuss this because Baz, you've played at a top level. You know, so here in America, for instance, for a basketball team, okay, everyone knows what you make in the locker room, okay? Everyone knows what everyone else makes in the locker room. And everyone has a self-determined value of what they think they should be making. There's like a hierarchy when it comes to the locker room and the wage. And that's a very delicate balance that you have to hold, okay? People can look at you and say, oh, well, there's a reason why Virgil makes as much as he does. He's the second highest player on this team as in wages. There's a reason why. I understand that. Or Mo Salah, he's the highest earning salary player on this team. There's a reason for that. I get that. But then for you to say someone out of the blue, out of some other team, this all of a sudden pops on your squad, and now all of a sudden he's the highest paid player, guess what? Now all of a sudden, Virgil, Mo, or whoever else is now knocking on that door, being like, I think I need a pay raise.
But hold up a second. I agree. I agree to a degree, definitely. But let's look at these two particular senior players that are on big wages at the minute. Yeah, Mo Salah's only just recently signed that contract. Yeah, and he's still going to be the highest paid player.
2025, by the way. Yeah.
Well, you know, we will never know the real deal, you know what I mean, in terms of bonuses.
I'm just saying it's still 2025, 350,000 pounds. That's what he makes.
That was 2 years ago, you know. It's not recently. It's 2 years ago.
Well, okay, fair enough. But in recent times, all right, so he can come. But the thing is, all right, Van Dijk is another one. Van Dijk is slowly, and you know, I love Van Dijk, yeah, and I'm not going to say anything bad, but you know what? He's on the other side of that, you know what I mean? His performances you may question a little bit, whereas Salah is still scoring goals for sure. But, you know, if Salah's, you know, contracted to Liverpool for how many other more years, yeah? If we do get a player in, you know, that's higher than Salah or just below Salah, I do get your point about the unrest in the dressing room and stuff like that. I hear that, yeah? But, bro, at the end of the day, you've got to pay money for the better players. And, you know, we shouldn't be in this thing where we cannot afford or we just will not pay. If you have the right player and he wants to come to your club, yeah, you're going to negotiate with him. You know what I mean? You're not just going to give him that, yeah? But I think it shouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? And in that role right now, we are getting desperate and we may have to pay something like that. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
I'm just trying to be a realist in the sense I don't want to be an accountant. I know people don't like dealing with the numbers. And Jamie, I'll land real quickly.
Yeah,
I know that people don't want to deal with those types of conceptions. However, it's a serious conception. I've been an agent and represented players in my life, and I know that these conversations exist. There's players that are going to be like, I'm better than this person, and I'm a more valuable player, and I should be getting more money. And then all of a sudden, you've got this whole like, you know, agents pushing for higher salaries and everything. And now you have players holding grudges against other players because they're making more money. It's like, it's a crazy concept, but it exists.
You know what? No one should be coming just for money. They should be wanting to play for a club. If they come with that kind of attitude, yeah, and you know they're on a decent wages, I'll be selling them, including Salah. If his intention is money, you know, because someone else has come in and, you know, he thinks he's worth more. He was worth that price and he's still under contract. When he's up for contract and he's still busting out some goals and stuff like that, then we can negotiate. And yes, the rage rises up.
But this is why I'm saying
but Baz,
again,
Baz, look no further.
Let me get one last point, Albert. My last point is this: Kimmich, for instance, is someone that I brought up weeks ago, and now I'm glad to see he's getting mentioned. However, Kimmich also wants to move to Real Madrid. The reason why he wants to move to Real Madrid is because they're one of the few clubs that can afford that kind of salary, the kind of salary that he's making. Okay, and that's just how it is. Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, those names are always going to be mentioned, and Bayern obviously are always going to be mentioned because they can afford those kinds of salaries. I'm not saying you're wrong in that. I would like to see us be able to have a city and city, obviously. I would like to have us to have a city wage bill. If you look at City's wage bill, there's only like out of their 25 starters, I think there's only like 3 or 4 of them that don't make over $100,000, 100,000 K. But if you look at ours, we have Gomez making 75, Konate making 70, Robertson making 50, Simicast making 60, Diaz making 56, Darwin Nunez making 98. Okay, and obviously we have Curtis Jones and Bichetic making close to $5,000 and $77,000 a week. Okay, those numbers are not exactly transferable to PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern. And then now we're looking at these teams to get these players. It's hard to say, Kimmich, hey, take a pay cut. You want to come play for Liverpool?
Yeah, but if he wants ambition and he wants something different, why not?
He can go to Real Madrid, or he can go to Barcelona.
Look at Lukaku at Inter Milan. You know what I mean? He's taking a big pay cut because he wants to play. Now, yes, if he's got ambitions or he wants a change, absolutely. But it's not just, if he's got ambitions, he's going to want to play for Real Madrid. But what if he wants to play in the Premier League? He will take a pay cut.
Look no further than Salah and Mane. Mane left Liverpool because of Salah. So the dressing room issues that Toffman is talking about exist.
No, I agree.
Because Mane was like, I've been voted African Player of the Year twice in a row.
Yeah.
Both occasions, my people selected me over Salah. I led my team to qualify for the World Cup over Salah. We won the AFCON over Salah. So on what basis are you giving him 3 times the money I earn?
I'm not disputing that.
Liverpool wanted to give him... Hang on, the thing with Mane is that...
But look at his season.
The club did the right thing with Mane because...
Yeah, well, that's the separate
right thing with Mane.
I'm talking about his perspective.
Yeah.
That he thinks that he was an integral part of what was going on, and so at least he should be paid comparable to what Mane was going to getting. The club said they will only give him 250, so he left.
Yeah, but at that moment, Uncle Albert, sorry to interrupt you, but Uncle Albert, at that moment, we still had quite a high wage bill with all these players. Now, I'm talking about in this current time now.
I'm getting to your point, so let me go there.
Right. Okay, sorry.
Right now, as we speak, we've hived off £98 million a year from our salary, our salary bill. 98 million. I've done the calculation with all the players that have left. So I don't know any reason why we can't go and get Caicedo. We
can get Caicedo.
Yeah, we got McAllister for 35 billion. We put Brighton's pants down on that, right?
I just don't think Brighton are going to sell us Caicedo because of that.
Why not? If we have the money, Tony Bloom.
I don't want to join Liverpool. This is the thing.
You know what? Caicedo is like a prostitute. He'll join anything for anything, right?
And his Klopp go have that in his team, though.
He wrote a letter to Brighton saying he wanted to join Arsenal. He showed them jerseys of the times of when he was a kid wearing Arsenal jerseys. At the moment, he's talking about going to Chelsea. The problem is Chelsea.
That's where he wants to go. He wants to go.
Yeah, he wants to go to Real Madrid. Chelsea cannot pay. Chelsea will not pay Brighton another 100 million after the dross they got to Cucurella. Right? They paid 60 million for Cucurella. They are not going to pay. They want to pay less. They want extended terms. They know that you got him for 4.5 million. And Tony Bloom is saying never. you want the money, you want him come and pay, because Declan Rice went for 105 million, and as far as I am concerned, my boy is a better player than Declan Rice. Finish. But here's the problem that Liverpool have. Everybody also knows that we've gotten 52 million pounds in the last 2 weeks. So we want to ask about Sheikh Doucouré. We're told he's 70 to 80 million. Palinia is 70 to 80 million. Even Romeo Lavia, who we claim is a project, we wanted him to come and understudy Fabinho, is 50 million, take it or leave it. And the reason why Lavia is 50 million is that Manchester City are getting 20% of the forward sale. So as far as Southampton are concerned, they are getting 40 million. They also know that next season, Man City can come and collect him for 40 million. So either way you cut it, Southampton won 40 million. The 20 million we are going to have to pay to Man City. So we have to make a choice. We've asked for Florentino Lewis, and Florentino Lewis is 90 million pounds.
Yeah,
and frankly, if I'm going to spend 90 million on Florentino Lewis, who doesn't know our league and is 23, going on 24, I'll rather buy Caicedo. Because Caicedo is also on 15,000 pounds a week now. So if we paid him 50 or 60, it will be news to him.
Yeah,
so let's just do what we have to do. Imagine a world, Jamie and Baz and 12-man. Imagine a world where we go for the jugular and get Gvardiol and all our problems are solved.
We've actually ruined Gvardiol going to Man City buying Szoboszlai.
Yeah, we've ruined it exactly. So, and we have good relations with all these teams. I don't know why we don't go for the jugular and just do what we need to do.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I think what Liverpool going to do, though, they're going to have to overpay. There's just no doubt about that. They're going to have to.
Because they faffed around on Ugarte, and they should have gotten Ugarte when the going was good. They didn't get it.
Absolutely.
You lose.
They go get Doucouré from Palace. They just go have to overpay for him.
70 million. I'd rather get Caicedo, bro.
This was. I've been saying this for a while, right? If Liverpool went and got Doucouré and Lavia, into their midfield, when you could have got one Caicedo, right? Then we got to have a word with does Klopp rate Caicedo like that then? Because why ain't he gone?
He does. He does.
So that's where that conversation will come up later. I don't think Liverpool. I think Liverpool go look for value in the market. I just do. I think they go.
Listen. Sorry to cut across you, my brother. Listen, Crystal Palace paid 21 million for Doucouré. Why should we pay 70 million for him a year later? Why would we want to do that? Like I said, if we're going to enter those nether regions, then we might as well get Palinia, or we might as well just go for the jugular and get Caicedo. I think Caicedo's fee can be negotiated depending on how much you want to put up front. I think we can do that.
We could do that.
Okay, big up Danny up the Reds.
And I suspect, listen, mark my words, I suspect Liverpool are going for a blockbuster signing. They're just not saying anything. They are going for a blockbuster signing. Otherwise, they should just go and do. They should just go and do Sangare.
I don't think Liverpool are going to get two midfielders in. I think they're going to get one midfielder in, and a lot of money's going to go on that midfielder. The only way Liverpool
That's what I think too.
The only way Liverpool get two midfielders in is if they get two cheaply that combine the one in price. But where we are in the market right now, we're going to have to overpay. And my daughter's just like, we have
3 weeks. We have 3 weeks. On Sunday, we will have 3 weeks to the match against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. We better not show up there without a DM. We better not show up there without a DM.
I reckon as soon as this deal's done. So there's a thing on Twitter at the moment that apparently Hendo's got his medical coming up in London, and Fabinho's on his way. I reckon after the weekend, it'll all be done. Once they've gone, I think we'll see who we're going for. But guys, this debate could go for hours.
Sell to buy, bro. They are waiting to sign on the dotted line. Know that those receivables are coming in, and I promise you, Liverpool is going to go for a blockbuster signing.
I think it's going to be. I'm hoping that we're just going to go for one big name and Klopp's just going for a smaller squad. Because I've said it for a while now. This season is the season Liverpool can probably go for a smaller squad with because of Europa League. I don't know how thingy Klopp's going to take the Europa League. So I think Liverpool can go for a smaller squad. There's the homegrown factor as well. We've only got 4 homegrown players in the club at the moment. So that means if we don't buy another homegrown player, we're going to have a squad of 22 instead of 25. But
they're going to sign Kwanzaa. So that homegrown thing is going to be solved.
And if Liverpool got a lot of under 21 players, they don't have to register. So the squad's actually is a lot bigger than people might think.
They're going to sign Kwanzaa. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah,
so basically, we need one blockbuster midfielder and a defender, and we're good to go.
I think I've been saying this for a while now. I think I heard Neil Jones talking about this the other day as well. I think Liverpool really want Tchouaméni, and they've seen what the situation there is with him.
But we ain't fucking getting him, bro.
I think that's what Liverpool want. I think they're going to see what the situation was with him. If they can't get him, they're going to go somewhere.
A guy has told you, I don't want to come to your team several times. What do we want him to come and do on Merseyside? We're a big team, you know. We're a proud team.
I'd love him
to go fuck himself.
I've got this funny feeling, though, we're going to get Leon Goretzka. And
oh, no.
We can't pay him. We can't pay him, Jamie. We can't pay him. Those Bayern Munich guys are on monster wages. We can't pay him.
They might be on monster wages, but I think they'll come down in thingy. They come down because we pay so many incentives.
How old is Goretzka?
Not sure actually. I don't think he's that old, but he's not.
He's still relatively young, but he's just had like a real bad form.
It's because when they won the treble, he hasn't really been the same player. So they're saying, does he lack motivation?
But Goretzka is more or less an 8, isn't he?
Yeah,
Sorry?
I mean,
he's an 8. He's not a 6.
Yeah.
Man,
he's more.
We need a 6. We need a halfback, a qualified, experienced halfback.
He can play in that double pivot. Which I think you look at the way we play, we're playing with that box midfield. So we're definitely playing with a double pivot. So,
but I'm very sure there are times when we are going to go back to our tried and tested 4-3-3. I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
But
we need a halfback, and we need to get one. You know what? Another thing we can do is revisit the Kefren Turan matter.
Yeah,
we can go back there.
Yeah, Turan can play that 6. He's more of an attacking-minded 6 than a deep lane 6. But
I think he'll just say no to us now. I think we messed him about.
Yo. It's money,
Kone,
bro.
Or Liverpool just waiting on what happens with Kone. They're just seeing.
That's another thing I'm thinking, that maybe they really want to sign Kone, but I won't sign Kone.
And Kone would be value for money. We know that's what Liverpool look at. If Kone is 40 million for Liverpool in this market,
Kone is going to be less than 40 million, but he has a dodgy knee, man. I won't sign it.
That's value for money, man. Look, Liverpool don't care about buying injured players. We know that. So look, we got to get out of here, guys.
That's what's coming.
Yeah, we got to get out of here, guys. We've been going over 2 hours now. We could debate this for hours and hours and hours. Guys, I'll be back on Sunday. I'm not going to be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Sunday for a call-in show because I didn't have one this week because of the Liverpool game. So make sure you're tuning in on Sunday evening for the call-in show, guys. I'm going to talk everything about Liverpool's pre-season and their game coming up on Monday. So call-in show on Sunday. Watch along on Monday. Make sure you join. Make sure you subscribe to all these great guys as well. Follow their Twitters.
We absolutely have to get a halfback, man. This is becoming alarming. We need to get a halfback, people.
Hopefully. Right, my daughter's just decided to leave. Off you go. She's nipped my phone.
Bye, baby Jamie.
Right.
What's her name?
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
She's gone. Right. I'm out of here. See you later, guys. Big up the chat. Thank you very much. See you again.
Bye, Baz.